Hello, good evening, and welcome to our Thursday Mindfulness Zen. My name is Sunim, and we'll start with a guided meditation on loving kindness. So loving kindness meditation, the main practice or the main direction of it is our intention. Our intention to share loving kindness with others and also with ourselves. So sometimes it's hard to imagine what loving kindness actually feels like or what it actually is. So if you're one of those people who has this question in your mind, then I would suggest thinking of it like friendliness. A sense of friendliness to yourself and to others. So that's all it is. So a sense of friendliness and loving kindness. So it's very simple. We have 4 simple phrases that we use, and we will repeat them in our own time, at our own speed, something which is comfortable for us. So let's begin by finding a comfortable, relaxed posture for ourselves. You can close your eyes if you like, or if you prefer to keep them open them slightly, gazing at the ground or gazing downwards with a soft focus. So as you take a few breaths to settle yourself into the practice, as you breathe out, see if you can let the tensions of the day that have built up flow away. It's good to be relaxed when we practice loving kindness meditation. Letting the tension ease, relaxing the shoulders, letting them drop. Letting go of any tension in your jaw and your face. So we begin by directing these phrases of loving kindness to ourselves. May I be safe, be happy, be healthy. May I live peacefully. Just keep repeating these phrases silently to yourself. be safe. Be happy. Be healthy. May I live peacefully. See if you can bring your full attention or your full awareness to each phrase as you say it. That's also part of the practice. It's a different way of paying attention. Rather than bringing our awareness to our breath, we actually bring our awareness to the phrase. And in this way, as we recite the phrase, we can be present in each moment. Now, see if we can bring to mind someone who has been kind to you or has been helping you. See if you can think of someone like that. Recall their image. You can say their name silently to yourself and bring them here. And then with a sense of gift giving, offer them these words of loving kindness. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. You may find your mind yanked away by thoughts now and again, or even quite frequently. That's okay. It's entirely normal and not something to worry about. You haven't made any mistakes. So all you have to do is when you notice that you have drifted away from the practice, try to let go of whatever has been calling to your mind and come back. Gently bring yourself back to reciting the phrases again, starting at the beginning. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Now, see if you can bring to mind someone who is neutral, a neutral person, meaning that you don't have a strong like or dislike for them, no strong feelings. Maybe they may be a distant acquaintance or someone who you bump into occasionally, like your postman or the barista at your cafe or the supermarket checkout person. See if you can think of someone like that and just bring them to mind. See if you can recall their image. And then with the same sense of gift giving, same spirit of generosity, offer them these loving kindness wishes. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. Next, see if you can think of someone who you have a slightly difficult relationship or slightly difficult time with. Try not to think of the most difficult person in your life. Just someone who is a little difficult. Someone who you find just a little bit challenging to relate to at times. See if you can think of someone like that and bring them to mind. And acknowledge that they too have their wish to be loved and to have kindness shown to them. So with the same sense of generosity and loving kindness that we've shown to ourselves and to the others, offer these phrases to this slightly difficult person in your life. May you be safe, be happy, be healthy. May you live peacefully. And lastly, let's bring all beings into our practice. All beings living in air, water, and on the ground. Let's offer all of them these wishes of loving kindness. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. May all beings be safe, be happy, be healthy. May all beings live peacefully. So as we come to the end of this meditation practice, see if you can bring some of it into your daily life. Spend 3 to 5 minutes each day doing this loving kindness practice. And it's very important to include yourself in this loving kindness, because if you do not include yourself, then it might not go very far, because we also are ones who are part of all sentient beings who deserve compassion and kindness. So take your time and slowly open your eyes and bring your attention back to the room. And thank you for your practice. I hope you enjoyed that loving kindness meditation. So tonight we're going to discuss a sutra. I haven't talked about sutras for quite a long time, and this is the Heart Sutra. In short, we call it the Heart Sutra. But the full name of it is the Mahaprajna Paramita Heart Sutra. And I just posted a text, English text of it on our Facebook page. Now, if you want the Chinese text, then you can just Google it. But this English text is the one that we use in our Quantum Zen school. So what I'd like to do is that before I start talking about it, I'd just like to read it to you. You know, in our practice, we usually just chant it and just like, almost like run through it without much thought. But I thought I might read it to you in a slightly slower pace and see if anything actually catches your attention. So, the Mahaprajna Paramita Heart Sutra. Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, when practicing deeply the Prajna Paramita, perceives that all 5 skandhas are empty and is saved from all suffering and distress. Shariputra, form does not differ from emptiness. Emptiness does not differ from form. That which is form is emptiness. That which is emptiness, form. The same is true of feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. Shariputra, all dharmas are marked with emptiness. They do not appear or disappear, are not tainted or pure, do not increase or decrease. Therefore, in emptiness, no form, no feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. No eyes, no ears, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind. No color, no sound, no smell, no taste, no touch. No object of mind. No realm of eyes, and so forth, until no realm of mind consciousness. No ignorance, and also no extinction of it, and so forth until no old age and death, and also no extinction of them. No suffering, no origination, no stopping, no path, no cognition, also no attainment, with nothing to attain. The bodhisattva depends on prajna paramita, and the mind is no hindrance. Without any hindrance, no fears exist. Far apart from every perverted view, one dwells in nirvana. In the three worlds, all Buddhas depend on prajna paramita and attain anuttara samyak sambodhi. Therefore, know that prajna paramita is the great transcendent mantra, is the great bright mantra, is the utmost mantra, is the supreme mantra, which is able to relieve all suffering and is true, not false. So, proclaim the prajna paramita mantra, proclaim the mantra which says, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha, Gate, Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, Bodhisvaha. So, that's the Heart Sutra in English. In Chinese, it has only 260 characters. And within these 260 characters, it contains all of Mahayana Buddhism's teaching. Now just think about that. 260 characters, and it contains all the teachings of the Mahayana school of Buddhism. You will find the essence of the Diamond Sutra, the Avatamsaka Sutra or the Huayan Sutra, Lotus Sutra. So within this very, very compact, short sutra, you will find the meaning of all the 84,000 sutras. So it is chanted in Mahayana and Zen temples in the world, usually twice a day. In our Zen temples, we chant it 3 times a day. So it's morning, evening, and during retreats, it is chanted more. So sometimes when you find that your mind isn't very clear, then try chanting the sutra, and it might help. So this sutra is actually very, very popular, and for good reason. And the first reason is that, as I've said, it's very concise and to the point. It just gives you the bones of the teaching of Mahayana Buddhism without adding anything to it. It's like very, very direct and very clear. Very direct and very clear. So even though it's short, every single word carries a lot of meaning. But I'm not going to talk about the sutra in this way. Like a lot of sutra teachers do, but I want to give you the sense or the bones of the sutra and the actual meaning to it, so that you can, I hope, use some of the teachings in the sutra to help you in your everyday life. So, 260 characters. It's short. The other thing is that it's very short, which is what I like. Nothing that's too long. And it's a bit like a poem if you really read it through. It's easy to remember. I think almost everyone who wants to can remember the Heart Sutra or memorize it. And you can recite the sutra in 5 minutes or less, depending on how fast you do it. I've seen people recite it in like less than 2 minutes or in 1 minute. It's just all the way through. So it's a very compact sutra, yet it contains a whole volume of meaning. Okay, so we're going to explore it a little bit, start exploring a little bit tonight. So we'll first begin to, let's talk about the title, because it's very interesting. The title is the Maha Prajna Paramita Heart Sutra. So the first thing about it is Maha. So the word Maha, it points to something that is very, very large in size, huge. So what is truly so large in time and space? Like someone may say, oh, the earth, the ground that we stand on, it's large, it's the largest thing. Or maybe oceans, or maybe the sky is the biggest thing. Or somebody might say, oh, the space is the biggest thing we know. Maybe sky and the space together are the biggest things. And somebody else might think, well, maybe the universe. The universe contains everything that we know of and a lot of things that we don't know of. Maybe that's the biggest thing. So that's an important point. The universe actually covers and surrounds our world. So everything inside it must be so big. However, the instant that we think in our mind, the universe, our mind has already covered the whole universe. So our mind can do anything. In the Avatamsaka Sutra, the Buddha said, your mind makes everything, okay? Your mind makes everything. The whole universe is created by mind alone. So it means that if you just think of the word universe, or just think of universe, already your mind has encompassed the whole universe. So our mind is bigger than infinite time and infinite space of this universe. That's actually a very, very important point. That's also very wonderful. And that is what this Heart Sutra is pointing to. That the mind can be such a big thing that you cannot even think about how big it is. But it can also help us, the sutra can also help us to discover and cultivate this biggest thing, our mind. So that's why the beginning of this sutra is called Maha, the Maha Prajna. Prajna means wisdom. In Korean we say Panya. But wisdom, what is wisdom actually? How would you consider somebody or something that has wisdom? Because if we just say it, we just say wisdom, that's not wisdom, okay? That's just our mouth saying the word wisdom. So wisdom actually arises from perceiving this world, perceiving the truth of this world clearly. But again, by merely saying the word truth, we don't get there. First, you have to totally connect with our world, totally connect with our whole universe. In Zen, we say, become one with the whole universe, meaning that you and the universe become one. You are not separate, meaning you are totally interconnected or interbeing, whatever words you like to use. So when you become one with the whole universe, then what you see, what you smell, taste, touch, everything is truth. The tree is green, sky is blue, the dog barks woof woof, and sugar is sweet. So truth is perceiving things just as they are. That is prajna. Paramita means going beyond or perfecting. But what does it actually mean to go beyond? To go beyond what? Okay. So go beyond means to go beyond this, the world of duality, this world that we normally find ourselves in. Okay. This world that we actually make for ourselves. Duality we can also call opposites thinking or opposites world. So in this opposites world, then we have black and white, high and low, good and bad, coming and going. But paramita means go beyond. That means going beyond opposites. So when we go beyond opposites, what do we arrive at? We arrive at what we call absolute world. I think in Cantonese they call it, I don't know the word in Mandarin, but Cantonese, I know, 絕對世界. That means absolute world. And then absolute world has no opposites thinking. Okay, there is no black and white, high and low, good and bad, coming or going. So a long time ago in China, there lived a great Zen master called Zhao Zhou. Now, he's very famous because he practiced for a very, very long time. And then he only started teaching when he was 80 years old. And he lived, he continued teaching until he was 120, I believe. That's when he died. So he was very, very, very famous during that time. And so when anyone asked him a question like, what is Buddha? He would only reply, go drink tea. What is Dharma? Go drink tea. What is Mahaprajna Paramita? Go drink tea. So that was his answer. And he's pointing to something. So if you drink tea and you completely just drink tea, 100% drink tea, become one with drinking tea, then you attain absolute world. There is no I. There is no I, my, me. There's only drinking tea. And then you can attain Maha Prajna Paramita. Okay? So that's why he said, go drink tea. So if you don't understand, maybe after this practice tonight, go drink some tea and maybe you will attain that. So, Prajna Paramita, Maha Prajna Paramita, Heart Sutra. So Heart Sutra, in Chinese, the Chinese characters for Heart Sutra are, in Korean we say Shimgyong, or in Cantonese, Sam King. That means actually mind path or mind road. Now in English, the word for mind and heart are different. But in Chinese, it's the same word. It's Shim. Okay, so Shimgyong more accurately means the mind path or mind road. So to bring it all together, Maha means great or very, very big. Prajna means wisdom. Paramita means going beyond or perfecting. And Hridaya means heart. So the Chinese characters for the Heart Sutra are Shimgyong or Mind Road. So this sutra means the great path for the perfection of wisdom. The great path for the perfection of wisdom. Okay, so it begins with the name Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva. Now, during the Buddha's time, when he was teaching and many people were practicing, there were many, many bodhisattvas who appeared. But the four great bodhisattvas, we consider them the four great bodhisattvas in Buddhism, are Avalokiteshvara, or we call Kuan Yin or Kuan Sen Bosao, and that's the bodhisattva of great compassion. The great wisdom bodhisattva, Manjushri, or Munsu Bosao. Then the great action bodhisattva, Samanta Bhadra bodhisattva, Bohyun Bosao. And the great vow bodhisattva, Kitasgaba, we call Jijang Bosao. So these are the four great bodhisattvas in Buddhism: for compassion, for wisdom, for great action, and for great vow. But these bodhisattvas are not something or some being that's outside of our mind. They are actually all different aspects of our mind or our Buddha nature. They are not separate or outside of us. So when we practice the Heart Sutra, and we practice wisdom and compassion to others, then we have the mind of all these bodhisattvas within us. Wisdom, compassion, action, vow. Okay? So, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva is very, very popular because great compassion. This bodhisattva, and sometimes depicted as male, sometimes depicted as female gender, is also known as the one who hears the suffering of the world. Okay? So having great compassion also means having great sadness at perceiving all the suffering that is part of living in this world. So that is the beginning of the Heart Sutra. Okay. Now, the next line, it says, Avalokiteshvara Bodhisattva, perceiving that all five skandhas are empty, saves all beings from suffering and distress. So, wherever you care to look, if you look closely, you will see that there are people suffering, there are animals suffering, there are non-human beings suffering. So, where does this suffering come from? Now, last time we talked about these five impurities, or the five poisons, like desire for fame, for food, for sex, for sleep, for money. These cause suffering. Also, these, we say, anger, desire, ignorance are also the roots of suffering. So if you look carefully, you will see that everyone is touched by some form of suffering. Doesn't matter who they are, how famous they are, how powerful they are, or how well respected they are. Everyone has experienced some sort of suffering. So maybe the suffering comes from kind of like an unrequited love for someone, or they have desire to pursue, to get some material wealth and cannot get it. So there are many things that we desire in this world, cannot get, then get suffering. But also, we maybe getting things that we do not want. Unwanted attention, unwanted fame, that also gives us suffering. Also being in the presence of the people that you don't really like, that is a form of suffering too. Or being away from the ones you love. And the last kind of suffering is this imbalance of the five skandhas, these five skandhas. So what are these five skandhas? Form, feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. In Cantonese we call it one. So it's okay if you don't understand it right now, but let me tell you a story about Zen Master Sung San's student. One time, he came to Zen Master Sung San, and he was very, very in a lot of emotional suffering, crying every day. He said, "Oh, my girlfriend doesn't love me anymore, and she's left me. You know, I want to be with her my whole life, but I cannot. She's decided to go away. So I'm very suffering. So I don't know what to do. Almost feels like I'm going to die. The suffering is so terrible. So please help me, Zen Master." So Zen Master Sung San said, "Oh, you need more suffering necessary." He said, "You need more suffering." Then this young man was like shocked. "More suffering? I'm almost dying here, and you ask me to suffer some more." Then Zen Master Sun said, "Yes, you must more suffering, and you must do more hard practice." So he gave him this practice, which is actually pretty difficult. 1,000 prostrations every day, and also reciting 10,000 Kwanzaa Bosals for 100 days. You know, it's not easy. For some people, even doing 108 bows is very difficult. So 1,000 bows is actually a huge challenge, even for a young man like him. But he did it, and to his credit, he managed to take away his suffering. And then eventually he ended up with a new girlfriend. But sometimes we need this suffering, experience some form of suffering to take away our suffering. Like the Buddha practiced for 6 years. Okay, he also experienced a lot of suffering during the time of his practice. Not easy. You know, if you can imagine living in the forest, and he went through very, very, very severe ascetic practice, like eating only 1 grain of rice a day. And you know, if you seen any kind of depictions of what the Buddha looked like at that time. He was like only skin and bones. And he himself even said, he could see, if you look from the front, he could see his spine through the front. He was so skinny. So, I can't imagine. But he went through a lot of suffering. Then eventually found the middle way, then got enlightenment. So that's why in Buddhism we say suffering is the mother of Buddhas. Okay. Suffering is the mother of Buddhas. You don't have to put yourself through this kind of, make yourself suffer unintentionally, but some strong practice sometimes. Like when I had to do retreats, sometimes I've lived in Korea for many, many years, and we do summer and winter retreats, very, very intensive. And sometimes your body really does hurt because you're sitting for 8-10 hours a day. That's kind of a suffering. Okay. In fact, when Musangsa first started, there was this, just below the Zen center, there was a very small farm, a deer farm. And what they did was actually collect the horns of the deer to sell as medicine. So the laywoman there was a Buddhist, and then she saw, all these people, they just sit for 3 months. That's too easy, They're not working hard like me, having to take care of the deer, get food for them, etc., etc. So she decided, okay, she thought, this is nothing, I can do it. She decided to sit a retreat with us. And then she said, I didn't realize it's so difficult to have to sit. First, you have the body suffering. You have to cope with all the aches and pains of having to sit still for so long. Then your mind is, flying off everywhere, so you have mind suffering as well. Then all these emotions come up when you're sitting and not doing anything. So she said, wow, not easy doing retreat. So doing long retreats is not easy. From outside, it might look, they're just sitting. But once you do it, you find out what it's like. So, but originally this suffering doesn't exist. It actually comes from our desires of our mind. So it does not have any independent existence. So when we talk about these five skandhas are empty, these 5 skandhas form, feelings, perceptions, impulses, consciousness. They are also called aggregates or heaps of mental energy. Because they are moving around all the time, then we see or we think, there is some real substance behind them. But actually there isn't. There is just this movement. Like a movie, like in the past when we had movie film, then each frame is still. But if you run it past a projector, 20 frames, 24 frames a second, that's the illusion of movement. That's exactly what these 5 skandhas are like. So, but if you attach to what form I look like, do I look good? How do I feel every day? How do I feel every moment? How do I perceive things? What sort of impulses come? Do I follow them or not? What goes on in my head? Then when they change, which they always will do, you get suffering. Because we think that these things are real. But actually, they are just heaps of mental energy that keep changing. They're not the real I. So, 5 skandhas empty, so therefore they are passing impermanent mental energies. Okay, so if you understand that, you won't attach to them so much. If you don't attach to them so much, then you won't suffer so much. Okay. So that is the meaning behind these. When you perceive that five skandhas are empty, then you save yourself from suffering. Okay. So I want to end here, and then continue next week with our discussion of the Heart Sutra. I hope you found it interesting, helpful. Actually, it's one of the more, one of the most interesting sutras that I've come across, And the reason for that is that for me, it's very concise, very short, but it contains this like really, really good teaching. So please join me next week, next Thursday. Then we'll continue talking about this. And in the meantime, please have a nice end to the week. Take care, stay well, and see you next time. Good night.